Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name's Pazuzu. I'll be hosting the draft today for everybody that's getting introduced into Season 9. Draft does start at 7. Just wanted to start a little bit early to get everything set up and for people to come in and everything. So if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free, put them in the chat and I'll be listening. And that's about it. Like I said, we'll delay it a little bit so, some people can get in and watch it. So maybe a couple minutes after 7, and then we'll get started. I'm just gonna mute myself for right now because I need to get something to drink and move around. I don't want to have any other sounds going on in the background, but I'll be back and we'll continue on. Thanks everybody for joining. What's going on, guys? I'm back. So, like I said before, in case anybody did just join in recently or within the past couple minutes, we're just gonna delay it a little bit, allow time for some people to get in, to watch everything. If anybody has any questions, like I said, my name's Pazuzu. My player's name is Phil J. Fry. I'm on the Voyagers right now. During, the stream of the draft, we'll have some people come in, just talk about what's going on with their players in the draft and, just thoughts about the whole process. So if anybody is interested in, talking with me tonight, we do already have some people lined up. You can message me on John. Hey, John. But you can message me on Discord. I have my Discord open. I'll put my Discord tag in the Twitch chat. So if you guys want to play, or sorry, not play. If you guys want to talk, feel free to message me. I'll put that in right now. Yeah, second largest draft. Second largest draft in PBE history. This is crazy. I'm happy to be a part of this, and I'm so excited for everybody else that's involved as well. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Hopefully, you guys enjoy the league and stick around. It's a ton of fun. You meet some really great people, your GMs, any sort of players on the team, and even the minor leagues is a ton of fun as well. I co-GM there for a couple seasons, so you know it's a blast. It really is a blast. From from what I think it is the second largest. At least that's what I was told. So yeah, let's go Voyagers. My boy Isaac's in the chat. Let's go. Oh, thanks, John. Thanks for hurting my feelings. So yeah, I guess at this point, I do have some things to show everybody. Like I said, season 9 draft. Well, I guess we'll get it started right now. But before we do announce any sort of picks or anything like that tonight, I do have just a couple pretty much slides to show you guys. Introducing the newest expansion teams. Like you said, the Space Rangers and the Utah Railroaders. So, just some information about them that I put together, so hopefully you guys can enjoy this. So the first team that we'll be talking about is the Space Rangers. So this season was the expansion draft, and the Space Rangers are located in Florida right now, and that is their current logo. So right now, the Space Rangers are run by Bovo and Slim. Their players are Deroldas Borgman and Esteban Rodriguez. So, and during the expansion draft, they did select a number of players. The first two were from the Voyagers, Pepe Alazar and Nate Piazza. They did pick up some good young players as well, like Zach Malatesta, Alexander Blitz. And the players that are starred at the bottom, O'Sullivan and Fernandez, were traded within the past, I think, week or so. And they received some draft picks back for those players since, they are a new and upcoming team right now. And then during the free agency, they did pick up some well-known and highly valued players as well, including Jax Hunter, Hulk Russell, who was also another Voyager, Penny Cowers, and Johnny Runikiwi. So their team is looking really tough right now. I think that they're going to be one of the teams to beat in the East right now. It's going to be them and OBX, Outer Banks, fighting for that spot. And then lastly, just some team needs based on, just some research that I was doing. Looks like that they're probably going to be looking for either like an outfielder or a first baseman. As of right now, they don't have one. But I could see Hulk Russell moving over to first base and them going for an outfield. And pretty much every team does need any sort of pitching or bullpen depth. So that's pretty much what I see the Space Rangers going for right now. And the next team, like I mentioned in the expansion draft this year, is the Utah Railroaders. Utah is headed by Ludwig Grodzinger and Tyler Olas, Andrew Warren and Tio, both people that I do know from, the Sim Leagues and others, both really great people. So if you end up getting drafted to them, you're in good hands. Like I mentioned, we'll just do a little brief overview of the expansion draft. With the expansion draft, they did select some good players. They got Kevin Biggio and Kellen Buchanan with their first two picks. However, like I mentioned before, the Stars do mean that they were traded. They did pick up, Iwan Mosey, and even Stephen Moore and a couple other good pitchers as well. Looks like they're really trying to build their team up first instead of trying to go straight for the championship. Now they did make some big trades. Like I mentioned, they did trade Biggio for a first round pick and the Voyager starting pitcher Michael Lang, which a lot of people think that Utah did get the upside of that trade. And then recently they also did trade Buchanan back to Outer Banks and they received Brock Beck and a catcher, Kevin Winters, in that trade. So it looks like they're really starting to build up some depth. In the next few seasons, I could definitely see them as some sort of powerhouse, in the West. And lastly, like I mentioned before, just some team needs. Outfield, like I mentioned, as of right now, since they did trade Biggio, the only player that they really do have is Marcos Gonzalez, who's a really good defensive outfielder, and they don't have any shortstops on the team. So, I mean, they do have a bunch of third basemen that can move over and cover that position. So, that definitely is a possibility. So, I just wanted to give a formal introduction to the newest expansion teams, Utah and Florida. So, congrats to all the GMs over there and all the new players. Hopefully, you guys really enjoy the teams. Now, we do have some other teams that have been around for a while. Just want to introduce some of the newer players to these teams. So first, we're going to start with the in the West. We have the Vandals. This past season, the Vandals didn't do too hot. They finished 24-76, missing out on the playoffs, and just some focuses like I mentioned. Most teams are going to be looking for pitching, and it looks like that they should be focusing on possibly a second base as well. Now, the second place in the West was the Sloths. Sloths finished their season really well, 65-35, making it as the second playoff team. Particular needs, like I mentioned before, pitching pretty much for all teams, and outfield. And then lastly in the West, we had the best team and the championship winning team, the Death Valley Scorpions. Scorpions finished 70-30. So primary needs, like I mentioned, going to be pretty similar for most teams, pitching and the outfield. Now we'll talk about the East a little bit. First in the East was Outer Banks. The Outer Banks Aviators, they finished the season with 57-43. And they made the third and final playoff spot and beat the Sloths in that wild card spot as well. 2 games behind them were the Voyagers, the team that I am on. And, we're not looking too good this year, so hopefully we can pick up some good players in the draft right now. We finished 55-45, 2 games right out of, that playoff spot, sadly, for the 3rd season in a row. And then the last team is the Crabs, Providence Crabs. The Crabs this past season finished 29-71, a little bit better than the Vandals, but right now both those teams are looking to rebuild. Primary needs I see for them, like I mentioned before, pretty much pitching, and it looks like they could also use a catcher as well. As of this point, I'm just going to do an overview of the draft. So, this is going to be a first round, picks on the first round. So first is going to be the Rangers, Space Rangers with the first pick. The second pick is going to be the Crabs. The third pick is going to be the Space Rangers yet again, so they do have 2 picks in the first round where they could, try to bolster their team and add some depth a little bit. Fourth is going to be the Railroaders, Utah. Fifth is the Vandals. 6th is the Vandals. 7th is going to be the Aviators. And then for the last pick of the draft is going to be the Scorpions. Sloths and the Voyagers don't have a pick. And the total at the end is incorrect. I forgot to input the new picture. I do apologize. So it's going to be 44 draftees in this season 9 draft. And then we're just going to move on. Last, I just want to, show everybody who's available for this draft. So first is going to be the pitchers. Actually, everybody just comes up at the same time. I forgot about that. So for the pitchers, we do have 10 starting pitchers and 5 closers this draft. It looks like, there are some highly rated starting pitchers out there that people could be looking for, and closers and any sort of relief, definitely any sort of team needs in order to, challenge for the postseason or anything, or just to have a good record in general. We do have a ton of infielders for some reason. Everybody likes to make a second baseman, so we have about 6 of those right now. We do have a lot of catchers this year as well. Um, Besides that, and we do have some outfielders there. One name that does stake out is John Demars. Seems like everybody does rate him very highly going into the draft for this year. So it is possible that we could see him going maybe, you know, most likely the first pick based on, the mock drafts that I've seen other people putting out there. And these are all the people that are in the draft as of right now. So good luck to all you draftees out there that are watching. I hope you guys enjoy the league and everything like that. So that's about it, really, for the slideshow that I do have. So what I'm gonna do is we do have the first guest. I'm gonna call that guest right now, and then we'll talk about the first round and see what's gonna happen from there. And let me pull up the spreadsheet. So this is pretty much the draft board that we do have right now. Very similar to the side that you guys just saw. Waldo, you there?
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
Hey, what's going on, dude? So Waldo's going to be joining me for the first round. We'll be talking about the picks, so or just anything really PB related as of this point. Yeah. So like I mentioned before, Waldo, if you're listening, John
I
Demars.
was.
Yeah, John Demars. Do you think he's going to be the first one to go first overall in this draft?
Yeah, I mean, he started at the beginning of the year, so he has all the talent, all the TPE needed to be a great in the league this year.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like yeah, I'm gonna try to lower that a little bit. I think that should be a little bit better. Maybe a little bit more. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I mean, John does have, I think it was 255 TPE as of today. So I mean, he is the highest rated player for TPE. And like I mentioned before, it is one of the needs that I said in regards to the Space Rangers going either for an outfield or first baseman. So definitely seems like a move that they could make. And the Space Rangers do have a second pick in this round too. So you have any idea who they might go for that round at all?
I don't remember who I put in my mock. I know I thought for a little bit that who was texting me. Okay, give me a quick second. Someone's texting me. Okay, I don't respond to that. I don't.
You there? I think you could. Oh, okay. I think the call dropped. Yeah.
But anything is open.
Yeah. So, it looks like right now we did get the first pick that has come in, and like many of us have thought, it is going to be John Demars going first overall to the Space Rangers. So congrats, John. Um, John did really well this season for this past season for the Sentinels, and joined pretty much right after the draft last season. So he kind of did get unlucky with that, but he was able to pick up a lot of TPE this season, this past season that he did play, and
Very active. He's
yeah,
very active.
yeah, very active. Pretty much gets all the TPE. And then he's very active in the locker room as well, always just talking to people. So it was a really good pickup by the Space Rangers with that first pick. Now, the second pick, we do have the Crabs. The Crabs, I feel like, could go with a lot of different positions as of this point. It looks like they are trying to rebuild after, the past couple seasons where they did really well. Do you think they're going to go with some hitting, or you think they might lean towards, defense with this pick?
Well, I do believe that they were kind of in the middle of everything. If I'm thinking of the right team here. Crabs, they were kind of third and fourth, not really good at anything. So think I might see them go into hitting to get a big power bat
Hmm.
to just like get them up to like first or second or anything, just so that way they can get a chance to make the playoffs. Wait, they did make the playoffs last year. Wait, no, they didn't because of yeah.
No. Yeah, they didn't make the playoffs last year, but they could go for a big bet. As of this point, um, that is something that they could be looking for. They do have some really good infielders on the team right now with Mike Boss and De Niro. So if they're looking for a big bat, they already have some. Maybe they might be looking for like a contact hitter or trying to strengthen up like the bullpen or
Yeah,
getting like a starting pitcher as of this point. So anything is really possible.
yeah. Like
Um,
as I said, there's
mhm.
no huge need for them. They can really go with anything, and it would be a great success for them.
Yeah, I feel like any position that they are looking for, any sort of need, will pretty much just strengthen the team as of this point. So let's take a look, and it looks like the pick has come in, and with the second pick of the draft, Chase Pettin is going to the Crabs. So how do you feel about this pick? You think
What position is
starting
this?
pitcher?
Starting pitcher? Yeah, it's a good pick for them because they need that high number one, number two kind of starting pitcher
Yeah,
play alongside. It's what the
yeah.
Rays they already have. Good young pickup, play great 2 to 3 years. If he stays active, it's a great pick for them.
Yeah, from what I know Pettin was a another sim league. He is a sim league vet
Hmm.
pretty much at this point. So maybe that's what they were thinking, knowing that young TB, that's the username, has been in other sim leagues, and they could try to keep him active that way. It's always the safer bet to do that, and I could see why they did go with that pick for number two. um, Considering we do have a lot of new players, which is awesome. I love having new people come in. Making new friends and talking to new people is always great. But when drafting, sometimes, especially in the earlier rounds, you kind of have to go with the safest bet, and I feel like they could probably get the most quality out of him as of this point. So, congrats, Chase, going second to the Crabs. Up next again is the Space Rangers. Now, with this pick, with the Space Rangers, you think they're going to go with another fielder? Or you think they might try to go, maybe like starting pitcher or relief pitcher with this one?
I hope they go pitching. I don't know if they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna go starter or relief, but I hope it is a pitcher. Not to take away from the current pitchers, but they need like the young ace that can take them through the playoffs in maybe 1 or 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when the Space Rangers did draft their team with the expansion and the free agents, it seems like a lot of the players that they got were older players or players from earlier seasons that were drafted. Including both the GMs for Slim and Bovo. At this point, maybe they could be looking for a pitcher for the future, or trying to fill in like a bullpen by either going with a starting pitcher or a closer. So that is definitely a possibility. I really don't see them going with a fielder or an outfielder as of this point, with John DeMars being drafted first overall. Um, I mean, some notable pitchers on the board. I could see Milburn going high. I can see Jabs going high. It looks like those people were talked about as well. And closer wise, it looks like either like Goose Boozer was a highly uh, dr- droughted closer, and even Justin Verbeek. So I feel like they could go with any one of those as of this point. Um, who do you think might go out of those
What is
people? You have
what?
any?
Hold on. Why can't I hear you?
Can you hear me now?
I can't. I can't hear anything.
Okay. Um, yeah. So sorry about that. I don't know what's going with that, but it looks like we did receive the third pick for this. For the first round, going to the Space Rangers is going to be J.A. Jebs, starting pitcher. So, like I mentioned before, it looks like that they may be trying to build for the future a little bit by drafting Jebs. Like I mentioned before, it seemed like he was a highly rated player on on both most people's
I
mock
can
drafts.
see your little green circles on, but I can't like hear you.
Okay. I'm not sure what's going on. Are you able to hear me now or no? Okay. So, here, I think I might have to end the call. Give me 1 second. Okay. Are you able to hear me now?
They're they're in. They're
Okay. So, yeah, so now it's going to the fourth pick of the first round. Right now, the Utah Railroaders do have the clock for this pick, for the fourth pick. Um, so I mean, a lot of things could happen, with this pick. Um, they could go, pitcher, fielder, outfielder, anything like that. So hopefully, like I mentioned before, it looks like Utah, opposed to the Space Rangers, they're looking to build for the future more. Definitely looks like the Space Rangers are trying to, trying to push forward the playoffs or for a potential title this year coming up in the season 9. So, mm, I feel like the best bet for the Railroaders probably would be to go with maybe some sort of pitcher or an outfielder, possibly. I feel like those would be the two best bets for them. So, I could see, like I mentioned before, I could see Milburn going there. I feel like, a lot of people did draft him or put him very high in the mock drafts. Outfield wise, based on, TPE that was earned, Fenway Turner was rated pretty high. Um, you know, so that is definitely also a possibility that they could go there as well. So Crossland, like you did mention, is another highly rated outfielder as well that people did put high on the mock draft. So it's a possibility that they could go. I feel like they could probably go with one of those three, and that would probably be the safest bet as of this point. Um, and and it looks like we have received the pick for Utah for the fourth pick for their first pick as an expansion team is going to be center fielder Seth Crossland going to the Utah Railroaders. So congratulations, Seth, being the first pick for the Utah Railroaders, your fourth pick overall. Like I mentioned before, pretty much all the GMs in this league are really nice and helpful people. So you're going to a good place. Um, I
yeah.
mean,
I second that statement.
yeah. So it looks like. How do you feel about that pick? You think they made the right pick going
Oh,
with
it's
the
great.
Crossland?
It's a great pick
Yeah.
because
Uh,
that's what they need. They need an outfielder.
yeah.
They'll have
Especially.
to move one over though because
Yeah.
they have two center fielders now. But I feel like that'll still be a great move for them.
Mhm. Yeah. Especially after getting rid of Biggio with that trade too, kind of left that hole in the outfield that they were looking to fill. So even with like a second center fielder, center fielders do tend to cover, the outfield. No matter what position you're in, and they have that wide range normally. So, maybe center fielder could play right field, left field, anything like that. Congrats to Crossline, like I mentioned before, being selected fourth overall. And, moving on to the fifth pick is going to be the Vandals, Vancouver Vandals, picking fifth in the first round. Yeah. So, what do you think is going to happen with this pick?
um, they have so many needs. You don't know what they're gonna do. Um, they might just go with Kyle Bellinger,
Yeah.
who's max, which just makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But are they gonna go with fifth or sixth, or because they have a sixth pick too? So
Yeah, Van is number 6. I didn't save the thing, so I do apologize about that. So my bad. So yeah, so with the 5th pick, the Vandals, most likely, per the rules, they should go with their GM, since he does still GM the team, and it looks like that's pretty much what they have to go with right now. So Max Crazy with his recreate is going to be going 5th overall, as Kyle Bellinger for the second baseman. So I mean, now with the 6th pick, they are going to be going with a different player, since you can't draft the same player twice. So what do you think about this? You think drafting the second baseman makes any sort of difference in what they should go after with back-to-back picks?
well, I mean, they were never good in anything last year, so I feel like
Mm-hmm.
just going anywhere would be great for them. But I feel like since they just went with a hitter who's going to be a great, who has just because he's always active, he's always playing, he's always excited and ready to play.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, excuse me, and like they should take a starting pitcher or a closer or something,
Mm-hmm.
just anything.
Yeah, I feel
Just
like
don't trade it.
yeah, I feel like most likely they probably will go with a starting pitcher. As of right now, the Vandals really don't much have much on the roster in regards to starting pitchers. I mean, they do have Barry Killer, Corey's brother as well. They do have Jaron Maxson, but a lot of these pitchers are low, you know, starting low TP starting pitchers as of right now. So like I mentioned, Vandals are definitely in that rebuilding process where they could most likely, I feel like they'll go with a starting pitcher for possible bullpen depth, if because of those starting pitchers having sort of low TPE because they were recently drafted, they could kind of just put them up into the team as it is right now, to get more people active and try to start winning games and expedite that rebuilding process a little bit.
Try
Yeah,
to start winning games.
well, everybody tries to win games, so
Well, it
yeah,
depends on what team you're on.
yeah. So it looks like we have received the 6th pick for the Vandals, and that pick is going to be starting pitcher Peter Dawson going to the Vandals as the 6th
Ooh,
overall. So how do you feel about this? You think they made the right choice, like you mentioned,
great
going with the
pick.
picture? Yeah.
Yes, he's a I talked to him in my draft article.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he 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 was nice. He was a great guy, but he only likes cheese on his nachos, so I don't know how much I can, like him. But we'll we'll skate away from that.
Well, I mean, if you have too much cheese, the nachos just get soggy. If you just put it on the side, then
Well, I'm saying you responded with cheese only. Who only puts cheese on your nachos? You gotta get more toppings in there.
Yeah, maybe some jalapenos, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna judge a guy just because he only eats cheese. Cheese is delicious. That's besides the point. Congrats, Dawson.
We're getting distracted.
Yeah, getting way too distracted. Next thing we'll probably be talking about hot dogs, if it's a sandwich or not. I don't want to get that started
Ooh,
either.
hot dogs are a sandwich.
I don't believe so. Besides that point, we're
Hot
not going
dogs
to
aren't a
talk about it.
sandwich.
Yeah,
They're tacos.
I could see that they are American tacos, but congrats, Dawson. Going to the Vandals for the 6th overall pick. First round is starting to close down a little bit. We got 2 more picks left. 7th is Outer Banks, and 8th, we do have the Scorpions. So, what do you think Outer Banks is going to be doing with this pick? You think they're going to be going possibly pitching or
Mm,
fielder or something like that?
it is really hard to say because they're a talented team and they do have a lot of talent, but they are just that one step away from being a Scorpions level team that I have a cough today. The Scorpions level team that could win maybe 65 or 60 games because they won 57 this last year, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was 57. So they could win 60, 65 this year if they just need that one piece.
Yeah, last year I don't remember. The Aviators went 57 and 43. They were 2 games, like I mentioned, above the Voyagers last year for that third and final playoff spot. I mean, last year the Aviators did have a really good team. Starting pitching, it definitely doesn't seem like a problem for them last year. Oles did really well. However, he did leave, to join Andrew Warren with Utah. So, that could be something they're looking for, or, possibly some bullpen as well. Besides that, I mean, they have really good outfielders. They have, McDonald in the outfield, Tanner, and Columbus. That outfield trio is probably, I think, one of the best in the league right now. So they probably won't be looking for anything like that. The only thing, like I mentioned, probably would have been maybe like a infielder, just because, possibly Bobby Schmurda, even though he did do really well last year, batting 340. He is one of those players that's going to be hitting regression rather soon because of, when he was drafted for season 1. So that's the only reason why I probably would have said or mentioned anything about them going for a positional player in the infield. Oh, sorry about that. I got that wrong. CK Royal corrected me that Jordan Vaughn, Matt Tanner, and Stennett is their outfield. Still really good outfield. It doesn't really change much. So, I think they'll probably go with, some sort of pitcher bullpen help as of this point. Do you think you agree with that?
Yeah, there are a lot of good bullpen players, and there are a lot of people like starting pitchers that are good that could go into the bullpen as that long relief pitcher, as they're like they need it or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it looks like we have received word for this pick. And with the 7th pick in the first round of the Season 9 draft, the Aviators have selected Goose Bozer closer, going 7th overall. Congratulations, Goose Boozer or Bozer. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Hopefully one of those is right. So, like I mentioned, it looks like they were going for, some sort of depth to fill out the bullpen, or, possibly as a replacement or a future replacement for a closer. You think that was the right move with this pick?
Yeah, I think it was a great move.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely feel like, they hit the nail on this pick. Definitely something that they're, looking for, building for the future as well. So, congratulations, Bozer. I'm sorry, I don't know which it is, so I'm just gonna say both of them. And now we're up to the last pick of the first round, and that is the championship winning Scorpions. The Scorpions probably have the full team as of right now. Where, as of this point, they probably should just be looking for players for the future. You think they're going to be looking for any specific position, or you think they're probably just going to be like, oh, we need the highest person that has the most TPE right now?
I think they're just gonna look at talent and
Mm-hmm.
activity because like the Scorpions and the Vandals are like complete opposites. So I like to see. So the Vandals need everything. The Scorpions really need nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
However, in like 2 to 3 years, they're gonna start hitting regression. They're gonna start dropping low. They might lose players to free agency. So getting just the highest rated player they can get at the moment is the best thing for them.
Yeah. Some people did mention in the chat, like CK, that, Scorpions did take a big hit during the expansion. Definitely, I feel like a lot of teams did take big hits during the expansion. It's hard losing players and, trying to decide which players you're going to protect. So all of that does come around and back to this draft, trying to fill in those positions, fill in those needs that you weren't able to protect because of, certain players. Um, whether they were inactive or you just couldn't hold that many players. So hopefully they can try to get some players back like that and on their team. But I still feel like Death Valley is going to be one of the top teams in the league this year. Hopefully, I feel like they'll probably push for the playoffs. But what do you think about that? You think Death Valley has a chance to repeat or go back to the playoffs?
I mean, I as a space ranger, I hope they don't repeat. But I mean, I do believe they have a chance. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you know, I think they'll give it a good shot this year, and looks like as of right now we have received a word for the last pick of the first round by the Scorpions, and the Scorpions have selected first name, last name, catcher, going with the last pick of the first round. Yeah. So, what do you think about this pick?
um, Probably the worst name in the draft. But a good talent.
I
Probably the best
disagree
catcher.
fully. No.
Just what?
I
Like,
like silly names like that. So, first name, last name, I like it.
I mean, I respect it, but like, he was probably highest rated catcher in the draft. He's, I think he could be a good talent for them in the future. That if they start hitting that regression, they start hitting free agency and stuff, that could be high talent.
Okay. Yeah, so it looks like with the close to the first round, I'll have to say goodbye to you, Waldo. I do have other people to bring in as of this point.
Very
So
sad. Very
yeah,
sad.
well, thanks for joining me. I really do appreciate it.
I enjoyed it. It was
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, no
I
problem,
enjoy
dude.
getting money.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. So have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon, dude.
All right. See ya.
Peace out. Yeah, so it looks like the second round, is going to be kicking off with the Railroaders. With that, we're going to have to get another person on the phone. And here, let me start the call right now. Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, I need to mute the stream first.
Yeah.
There we go.
You good now?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so in the call right now we got Jiggly. So how you feeling about the draft right now, Jiggly?
I'm not feeling too good there. the
Yeah.
I just put in an update right before the draft. Got up to 184 TPE
Mm-hmm.
and did not go first round, which is surprising to me at least.
Yeah. I was surprised as well. I thought, that you probably would have went first round, maybe around the end of the first round, middle first round. Kind of hard to pass up on Demar's because of when he joined and how much TP he has. But
Yeah.
maybe you think you're gonna go in the second round at all to any of these teams up here, or do you want to go to any of these teams during the second
I
round?
mean, the big thing with Dottie is Dorothy Morimura, right fielder. I believe I had her as a right fielder, not a left fielder. Yeah, you have it up there.
Yeah.
But the thing with her is that she's kind of here only because of spite, because a lot of people kind of insulted my commitment, I guess. And so I think the big thing with her is that there's going to be some teams that aren't going to want to pick her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know that there's a couple of teams that I did say, like, I probably don't want to show up. I think I only told one team that, but word does sometimes get around with that sort of thing. So it's sort of the classic. A lot of people have the whole thing with their player being sort of a diva, but on like how they actually play it, it's fine. They're just good. They're good enough anyway. To that doesn't matter. But I think Dottie is more closer to real life at this point, where there is plenty of controversy enough around her that it's going to scare teams off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that does happen in real life sports as well. If there is like that sort of stigma or name or something like that, it could hurt the value, but it also does bring some sort of personality, like you said.
It brings some intrigue to the whole situation.
Yeah, especially in something like a sim league where, you're able to, if you want to, like role play as like your, player and stuff like that and try to get into their mind, which, some people do, which is, completely cool, that would
Yeah,
definitely help
that's
that.
always fun to see. I think
Hmm.
because I've played a lot of times, because I'm going into my third year of sim leagues this May, and pretty much every single player I've played has just been a complete cupcake. Like they've been happy, they've been loyal to their team. I think I've only moved teams like twice in my entire time with sim leagues. So it's the kind of thing where pretty much everyone I've created has been the sort of person that's going to be okay with everything. I wanted to finally do something different now.
Hmm.
And so this character is definitely going to be a bit harsher, but it also means that I'm going to have to step up with TPE. I believe I'm max for the time that I joined. So yeah,
Hmm. Okay, so let's take a look. It looks like we have,
we got to
received.
pick.
Yeah, we got the pick in. So it looks like Utah is going. First, I'm just gonna butcher this name because I really don't know how to say it. I'm guessing it's Cisco Zaffelli or Zachafelli. I'm not sure, but I'm sorry if I said that
I
name
can't
wrong.
see it.
Yeah,
I'm
but
trying to find it. Is the actual name in like the unassigned pages? Because I've
yeah, it should be there. I do apologize if I'm pronouncing the name incorrectly. I like the name a lot, but I just don't know how to say it. But god dang.
yeah,
Uh,
I think it might be like Chochapilli.
Zochapelli. It sounds like some like
Yeah,
Italian or like Argentinian name. I you know I like that. So
that's a fun
congrats.
name.
Yeah, congrats, Cisco
Uh,
being drafted ninth. How do you feel
what's the
about
user?
that pick? Hmm?
Who's the user?
I don't
I
hear.
didn't hear.
I didn't say it. I can pull it up. Give me 1 second.
All right.
Yeah, and the username is RB Den.
Huh. So yeah,
Yes.
one of the new guys. I know that one of
Mm-hmm.
the big reasons that I was being told, other than the whole controversy thing around Dottie, is that a lot of PBE teams, specifically PBE, really likes bringing in new players early. So if they're brand new, usually teams are like, okay, I don't care about the recreates. The recreates, we know they're people that are there. They're a known quantity. There we go. That's the term I was looking for. They're a known
Mm-hmm.
quantity, and people are going to do whatever they're going to do. The new guys, you don't know anything. They're a gamble. So if you take a new guy very early in the draft and then they don't turn out very well, well, you missed out. But if you miss out on somebody who goes later and they turn out to be an amazingly active player, you want to get in on that and try to get them before anyone else does. That's why a lot of PBE teams take these newer guys early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is a a high risk, high reward sort of thing with knowing certain players or just knowing certain users based on other sim leagues and or if they are remakes, if they've been around the league for a long time, then it's always nice and you have that like that tangible quality knowing that they're going to be able to be active and earn TPE to get better because I mean it's pretty much what all the GMs are looking for to try to make their team as best as they can. Sometimes with newer players it's hard to tell exactly the sort of effort and the amount of time that they're going to put in, especially at the beginning. But I mean, this league's a ton of fun, so I hope all of them do stick around. I mean, sadly, it does happen with some of the newer picks that life happens, and
Yeah.
people just fall out. But hopefully, if that does happen, you guys come back. Uh,
Quickly before I add something onto that,
mhm.
somebody just called in the chat just called me Waldo. I think you should probably like put on. I know there's an empty space in the K column to just write down the name of the whatever guest is on. I think that would be
Oh,
a good idea.
okay, yeah, I could put that down. I'll put it down here. Just
But
make it.
yeah, definitely. With having a known quantity, you know what you're getting. Somebody like me, I mean, I may be different this year with being more active, but you kind of know what you're going to get if you draft me. You're going
Mm-hmm.
to get somebody who's going to be in the locker room. You're going to get somebody who I'm just not going to describe myself, but you know what kind of person you're getting. You know if they're going to be doing more podcasts or doing more media, if they're going to do media at all. So with that sort of thing, you know what you're getting. You can wait on picking them up.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, yeah, I totally get that. On the other hand, though, sometimes if other teams do notice that you're kind of, waiting on somebody that that's going to be like, oh, this player's been in the league before, and they're just kind of sitting there. Why
Yeah,
isn't it?
sometimes
Yeah.
it's a safe pick, and
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of these GMs like to go risky. But if there's a safe pick where it's somebody that you know from another sim league and you know they're going to be active, like I think has Icy Doug been taken yet? I don't think he has.
No, I see Douglas is
Uh,
still on the board right now.
Icy Doug is probably one of the safest picks that you can make in this draft, and not off the board yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really something where it's just a lot of people like doing something that's interesting and that's fun. And there's also the people who are going to look at it and say, well, here's a safe pick. I don't want to try to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I get that. It's a hard balance between, especially probably for a GM deciding, especially with certain players and their needs. If since you are a right fielder, or just at any position in general, if they already have a right fielder or something like that, they may not need it. So that could be why
Yeah,
anything like that
there's
does
definitely
happen.
need stuff too.
Yeah. So it looks like we have received word as well in regards to the 10th pick of the draft. And the Vandals have selected 10th overall. It's going to be David Davies. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right. Starting pitcher going to the Vandals. So what do you think about this pick, Jiggly?
Got to look for username again.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of these guys, it's like if they're new, then of course, as we've been talking about, it's a new pick. If it's somebody who I know of, then it gets interesting.
Yeah, the username is HubDog. Congratulations, HubDog slash David Davies being drafted. Yeah, so HubDog, it's a balanced pitcher. So, that's kind of the meta, I guess, as of right now because of the rework that, was done before. So looks like, they already kind of started off well. And, like I mentioned before, in regards to the Vandals, it definitely looks like they're definitely in like a rebuild heavy mode right now. And pitching is, always a great way to go, especially if you do have young players. If you're able to keep them off the bases, the less runs you need to score to win.
Yeah,
So,
that's one of the like biggest parts of the whole thing with that we've seen in PBE. Now we've got the Vandals. They need to rebuild. They're going to be going for starting pitchers. I think a lot of teams are going for pitchers. Pitchers, yes. Rabbit Sponge in chat just said pitching is so hot right now. It is. It is very much something that everybody wants and everybody's going to be looking for.
mm-hmm. Yeah, especially it really did screw over a lot of teams with the expansion too. Primarily because you need four starting pitchers and at least like a closer. So any team that didn't hold, maybe like one or two pitchers, or if they, because of the TPE limit as well, you kind of had to get rid of somebody over. I think it was 250 was the limit as well. So that kind of did hurt teams a little bit. It did, hurt the Voyagers a bit. I know that in the locker room we talk about a decent amount, but everybody does seem to need starting pitching. So it looks like we did get a decent amount. We got 15 pitchers this draft, so hopefully you guys come up clutch and help us out a bit. Yeah, and then next up we finally have the Voyagers' first pick. Like I mentioned, I feel like the Voyagers probably should go with starting pitcher. I feel like we're pretty good everywhere else.
I mean, it's the reason why Death Valley won this past season.
Mm-hmm.
They had, of course, a retiring pitcher, but they had one of the best pitchers in one of the probably the best pitcher in the history of PBE, Victoria's Secret.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot there was another person who kicked me out of my spot. I forgot I wasn't paying attention. But there's some basically some of the best pitchers pitching in the league was in Death Valley. And then if we look at when the Vandals were winning, they had the best pitching in the league. Whoever has the best pitching in the league is going to win the league, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, right now, let's pull up the Scorpions right now. I mean, last year, like you did mention, Victoria's Secret did really well, especially going to, the Scorpions. It kind of lit up everything. Probably one of the best pitchers, probably one of the favorites or the favorite to win like pitcher of the year this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if if Victoria's Secret. I would be surprised if she didn't win. But I mean, besides that, it looks like any sort of pitching would help, and it kind of would be the streak right now. And like we did mention, help out a bunch of teams. And for the Voyagers, right now we have two active starting pitchers, with Ryan Stryker, who's our GM, and Elston Sinclair, who is another player on the team. So I think we should probably go pitching as of this point, but that's just what I think. Let's see what actually happened. So we did get the pick, and it looks like with the 11th pick going to the Voyagers is going to be Justin Verbeek, and that is user Hex55. So congrats. Welcome to the Voyagers. Hopefully you enjoy it here. I'll be there.
I know Hex from Montreal Militia locker room. Good guy, nice taste in music. I think that he's definitely going to be somebody who's good for a locker room. He's going to be active. He's going to be keeping other people active. And I think that was one of the biggest things, like early on in like the history of PBE, teams like the Voyagers and the Aviators just not having any actives. So always always getting an active, somebody who is going to be active. It's not exactly a safe pick because he's not a recreate. He is technically a new person, but he is a Sim League veteran. He's going to be involved.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. Like we mentioned before, like I mentioned before, any sort of Sim League experience, whether it is with the PBE or possibly like the football NSFL or any of the hockey leagues, definitely does help out tremendously, especially when GMs are looking over rookies and it's like, oh yeah, he was in the NSFL. It like kind of gives you that one up against other people, just because it's like, oh, I already kind of have the
they already do
the
stuff.
background. Yeah.
If they don't like the PT, they can do a PT in a different league and then claim welfare and still get TPE.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I do that all the time. I see the PBE ones or the NSFL ones, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I'm gonna do the other one.
This one looks hard.
Yeah, yeah. Some of the ones that are just like a little too out there, I'm like, let me check the other one and see if that one works.
The SHL.
Yeah, yeah. I'll just have to join all the leagues so I can just like do the easiest ones. But besides that, like I said, congrats, Verbeek. Selected to the Voyagers. Happy to have you on board.
So I think out of these next 3 picks, I think these next 4 picks, if I'm going to be picked in the second round, the one of these 3 teams is probably going to be it. I have history with the Crabs, 40 chess. I did a job for him. I got a body to the quarry. And I know Utah Railroaders, they're an expansion team. They're going to be looking for new players anyway. And since they don't have anybody who's on my no list on their team, they will probably be picking. They probably have a good chance of picking me up. And the Vandals, I know they messaged me. Max has been a pretty good person. He's been a good guy to me recently, and if he's going to pick me, he's going to pick me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, what analysis.
Yeah. If he's going to pick me, he's going to pick me. You heard it here, folks. Yeah, very bold prediction. No, but yeah, with like you said, we got 3 teams left in the second round with 4 picks. Krebs got 2. The Krebs are up right now. And the Krebs before selected Chase Pettin with the starting pitching as the second overall pick. Like you mentioned, I could definitely see any sort of outfielder going on the board, or possibly the Krebs bolstering up their pitching a little bit. Um, you got any idea who you think they might go? You think you're gonna go to the Crabs with one of these two picks?
Well, if they have, I think that's definitely a possibility. I don't quite know their outfield situation, but either way, you're going to want to get somebody who's rising with TPE, who's got a whole lot of TPE. And while I may not exactly have the credibility to be continuing to get TPE, it's something that you look at and you see, well, if they're doing this much already, you try to track how it's going to go throughout their entire career. And yeah, Kobe just mentioned that Providence could use a good outfielder. So yeah, definitely a possibility that Dottie goes here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could definitely see that going. So looks like we did receive the pick for the Crabs for the 13th pick in this year's draft. The Crabs have selected Fenway Turner, the danger zone, going 13th overall.
Yeah, I remember hearing about him having more TP than me. I was quite worried, but
mm-hmm.
he created just like I think a week before I did. He already has a ton of TP. He's somebody who's got uh, credentials in other leagues. He's he's in what NSFL. I think he's in GMHL. He's big in the SHL, and he's in like the new hockey league. He's a fairly safe pick if you want to have somebody who's going to have consistent TV, who's going to be consistently getting better.
Yeah,
He's a sim league vet.
yeah, I know. I remember the danger zone from NSFL. Definitely, I'm not really in the hockey leagues. The SMHL or whatever it's called, but the new one I did just join. Um, and primarily from the NSFL. But looking at the danger zone, like you did mention, he does have a decent amount of TPE as of right now. The total TPE is sitting at 161 for a rookie, which is pretty high as of right now. So definitely a good pickup for the Crabs. Needing an outfielder as well. So hopefully this will turn around for them, and help with that rebuilding process. Now, with the like you did mention, we do have Utah with this 14th pick. You got any feelings about who they're gonna take, or you think you're gonna go to them? Any other ideas?
They already took an outfielder. What that Seth? I have
He,
this on like a small screen here, so I'm
yeah,
trying to like
Seth Crossland. He
yeah,
was.
Seth Crossland.
Mhm.
And I mean, I don't know if they're going to take another outfielder. They might be interested in taking another outfielder. They're an expansion team, so they're going to want everything. So I would definitely expect anything, pretty much. They're going to want everything. Yeah, they need position players. So yeah, I'm just hoping for that the pick comes in, so I don't have to talk about it because really, it's kind of hard to talk about expansion teams.
Yeah, no, it is hard, especially because they're relatively really new. Because the expansion draft did happen, only a little while ago. So it's hard to kind of see exactly what they're going to be doing and how they're going to be building. But it looks like Utah is definitely taking a completely different approach than Florida. So let's take a look and see what Utah's going to go with this pick. So it looks like 14th overall in this draft going to Utah is going to be left fielder Icy Douglas. Icy Doug. So
Yeah,
I see.
that's a great pick. I think a whole lot of people had him in the first round of their mock drafts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people were expecting this many like new people to be in that first round, but he's definitely a great pickup. As I said, they're gonna they already had they already got a center fielder. Now they're getting a left fielder. We'll see if they go after a right fielder with their next pick. But
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah, I mean Utah's really filling out their team right now. Like I said, it definitely seems like a team for the future, primarily because of the trades that were made with those high TP earners. I mean, Icy Douglas was definitely a great pick. A lot of people, like you said, I thought that he probably would have won like end of the first round, some sort. Getting mid second round is a great pickup, and congratulations. Um, you know, I see Doug on the pick as well, going 14th overall, and like we
As
mentioned
a
before.
as a point of history, I believe one of the things that I've been getting made fun of recently is about retiring. Of course, there's the whole recent thing with Anna Jostin retiring like right before she had a career year. But there was a player before that, Vincent Grammatica, that I had who joined in the middle of the first year, was a waiver pickup, went into the draft, and then I said if I wasn't picked in the first round, I'd retire, and so I did. And
Stuck to your
so
word at
it's
least.
sort of like, I've had this happen before to me. I'm not retiring Dottie. Dottie is going to prove everyone wrong, of course, but it's something that's happened to me before. It's interesting to be on air right now
Yeah, I kind of do
for it.
apologize, but I mean, I'm
As
not
I
the
said,
one
as I said, I
controlling
needed
it.
to get on before I had to eat, so I'm
Yeah,
just here now.
yeah, no problem. Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking. So, I mean, if you want, we can finish out the second round, and then I do have some other people to get to, if that sounds good to you.
Yep.
Okay. So with the crabs, what you think the crabs got any specific needs they kind of need to hit with this pick, infielder, outfielder?
As I said, it's still the whole thing. They did just pick up a right fielder, but pretty much all outfielders can kind of play in any of the positions. So if they need a new left fielder, Dottie. But still, I'm looking at the outfielders. I'm trying to like recognize names and like put them towards usernames that I know of. I can't tell very well mentally right now, but I'm just looking for names that I recognize. Epictetus Milburn, if they need a starting pitcher. I know that the Crabs have always had fairly good pitching. They're the exception to the rule for if you've got good pitching, you've got a good team. They've made the playoffs, of course, many times with that pitching, but they still have good pitching.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know if they'd need Epictetus Milburn. There's Adrian Kane, that's Noble's player. He's also a good pickup if somebody can get him, especially with the whole welfare PTs. No, that's
Yeah,
different
the whole
leagues.
welfare system
The
definitely
not welfare.
the crossover, whatever it's called. I don't
Yeah,
remember
whatever.
exactly either, but it's fine. Uh, yeah, I feel like the crabs probably, like you said, they probably won't go pitcher as of right now. Most likely, like you said, because they do have good pitchers and they took Pettin second overall. So, I mean, I feel like it could be a toss up between any sort of outfielder
I
or
think at this point
infielder.
they might just want to go for best player available.
Yeah,
Uh, it's not exactly. I don't know exactly if they're going to go for a need in this spot. This is their third pick in this round. I think well, technically speaking, it's their second pick.
yeah,
They had three picks, and one of them got taken away. But they've got two picks in this round. I think one of them they take a need, and the other one they take best player available.
yeah. So I feel like the need was definitely with Fenway Turner. So, this one, like you did mention, should probably be the best player available. And it looks like we have received word on the pick. So 15th overall in the second round. The Providence Crabs have selected Eric Sy, username Miniman561, second baseman. So congrats,
Is it
Eric Sy.
Manic Mav?
Oh, but the username?
Yeah.
It's Miniman.
Okay, that's a different person. I got
Yeah.
confused there.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, that is an interesting pick. I don't know. It is a second baseman, and there's a lot of second basemen in this draft for some reason. I just noticed, but yeah, they're just taking whoever they think is the best here.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with going like that, especially if you notice, these players do have, high amounts of TPE for the amount of time that they've been around. Then you know that, they're being active without even being on a team, and that's always like an upside. And once you're on a team, you do have like the help of your GMs or, just any sort of players that just want
Oh
the
yeah,
team to do
Miniman.
well.
I noticed that he was really active on the Discord. I think that's one of the other big things that you look for as a GM when you're trying to draft. are they active on Discord? Because Discord is usually the best place to keep people active. I know a lot of people, there's some people who prefer just the forums. I remember when I first started out with the NSFL, our GM didn't want us to. Actually, no, it wasn't the GM, it was the commissioner. Ballerstorm did not want us to have a Discord until finally just someone made it on their own and it just became the official Discord. Uh, there's people who don't like it, but there's the whole thing with uh, there's some people who are good at being at getting TPE and not talking very much, and then there's people like the guest who was on earlier, Waldo, who's extremely active on Discord, doesn't update that often.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that sort of difference, but I think that if you're going to get somebody who's not going to do much, you'd rather them be talkative than not.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether or not he's going to do much. I'd say he's active on Discord, you pick him up.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely being on active on Discord is always, a benefit, especially because that's where the locker rooms are. So, I mean, there's usually people always talking in the Voyagers Discord. We like play games. We've watched movies before and stuff like that. So it's always nice to do stuff like that to try to, if you have time to kill as well. So, might as well do
Or if you
something.
have emotions that you need to get out.
Oh yes, definitely the emotions too. While watching The Room. So, yeah, but yeah, Discord's great. I love it. So I mean, because you can like tag people, especially when they put all like the PTs and like all the checks, activity checks, and everything like that right in there.
That's why I was a bad
Yeah.
GM, because I'd never do that.
Oh yeah, that's not very good.
That's
I
not a very good thing.
Yeah, I forget to do that too. Yeah, so up now with the last pick of the second round, we do have the Vandals. So the Vandals, like you mentioned before, maybe they go with, Dorothy for this pick. You think the Vandals are going to take you with this pick, or you think possibly somebody else is going to be going?
I know that they were one of, I think, only two teams to have sent me, no, three teams who sent me a PM on this site, and then somebody just like messaged me like while I was on stream.
Mm-hmm.
But the Vandals were one of those teams, and I don't think I told them to go away. But I think Max likes me somewhat. I don't really know. He mentioned that he heard his name, so I'm just gonna keep mentioning his name. But I know that Max is on the team. He's okay with me. There's plenty of other players on the team who are okay with me. And yeah, they have pitching covered now. They've gotten what they got. I'm trying to look closer. Yeah, they got Peter Dawson. They got Daffodil Davies. I think that they're definitely no Daffyd Davies. Why did I say Daffodil? Daffyd
Close.
Davies. They're going to be looking at probably a position player. So yeah, I mean, if it's Dottie, then it's Dottie.
Mm-hmm.
If
Yeah.
it's not Dottie, I think who
Time
would
to
it be if
rage.
it's not her?
No.
Well, yeah, time to retire. Duh.
Yeah.
Who would it be if it's not her? I think. Let's see. You already have that. Okay, I'm just looking down the list and trying to recognize names. I barely recognize any of the outfielder names.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody who's been active on the stream. At least I think. Uh, okay, I can't find the name again. Oh well. If
Yeah.
it's not Dottie, then we all rage quit. I think
Yeah.
we
Time.
turn
Time
off the
to.
stream,
Yeah.
turn
Time
off the
to.
stream, ride in the streets.
Yeah. Just
Also,
one.
a fun thing that would happen if she is drafted by Vancouver here is oh yeah, Noble. But I was talking about position players. I know that there's two great pitchers on the board right now, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it looks like we have received word about this pick for the 16th pick, and the end of the second round. It looks like the Vandals have selected Leo Komarov, closing pitcher for the Vandals. Congratulations, going to the Vandals.
And the
Uh,
username on that is
I can pull it up in 1 second. Leo Komarov's username is Uncle Leo's Comrade. Definitely sounds like a Russian name.
huh.
So, Yeah,
All right.
Leo Komarov, congratulations, going 16th overall to the Vandals in the second round.
I am fairly surprised that of the of the pitchers that haven't been picked right now, Epictetus Milburn and Adrian Kane, I don't know why they're not being picked here because they are two very active people. They're two Sim League veterans. As we've stated before, the difference between the new guys and Sim League veterans is the whole uh, dichotomy between known quantities and risk versus reward. And it's a they're good guys too, and I don't know why they're not being picked here. I can
Mm-hmm.
understand why Daddy's not being picked, but those two is very very confusing.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, it looks like that comes to the end of the second round. So at this point, I'm gonna have to say goodbye. But thanks for coming on the stream, Jiggly. I really do appreciate it for hanging out and talking with me
I'm
today.
gonna go cry in a corner now.
Yeah, me too. Once the stream ends, I'll do it for you. Thanks for coming on though. I really appreciate it.
Bye.
See ya. Yeah, so with that, that's going to be the end of the second round, the beginning of the third round, and the first pick for the third round means the Space Rangers get to go. And that also means we get a new guest. So, the call is started, and once that happens, hopefully we should get a new guest in here with us. Yeah, so looks like, the Space Rangers before they selected the only two picks that they've had were in the first round, with John DeMars going first overall, Ed and J.A. Jabs going third overall. Well, both are really good picks. Rabbit, are you in here?
I am, sir.
Hey, what's going on? How you doing today?
It's your boy Rabbit Sponge, one of the streamers. How's it going?
I'm going fine. So what do you think's gonna happen with this third round over here with the Space Rangers?
Sorry, I missed that part. What was that?
No, it's fine. What do you think is going to happen with the Space Rangers with the first pick in this third round? Think they're going to go? You think anybody specific for this pick?
Well, if you guys would have read my media piece there, unfortunately, I only got 6 of the 8 teams done. I think Space Rangers, they're in a pretty good spot. Their real glaring issue seems to be with the outfield, getting some actives in there. They got the right field, which is going to help. They taking that other starting pitcher kind of surprised me a bit, but does make sense because Cowers might be chasing the dollar bills, so they grabbed that. But I think for them, they really need to maybe target a closer or look to grab themselves another outfielder.
Yeah, I could definitely see them going outfield or closer. With this pick, I feel like it could be a toss up between the two. Um, like I don't really know who's gonna go with this pick as of right now. So let's take a look and see if we have received word on this pick. And yeah, it looks like we have received word for the 17th pick overall. The Space Rangers have selected starting pitcher Adrian Kane, which is Noble. So congrats, Noble, Adrian Kane. So what do you think about this pick? It didn't seem like you thought that they were going to go with the starting pitcher with this.
I mean, the way the league's structured, it's not a bad thing to stock up on pitchers because
Mm-hmm.
realistically, kind of what I hinted at, I think the beginning of the season is that people should really start looking because the closers that everyone's been using are a bunch of like 150 TPE season one inactives who are going to start dying real soon. And I think teams are better off to really try and run some of the young starter pitchers in that closing role. They got enough to kind of hold off for a bit, but in a season or two, I mean, it's the perfect spot for Kane to step in and be a reliever for a couple seasons before he transitions to starter as Rodriguez starts to die from regression. It's not a bad pick. I mean, taking pitchers really is never a bad pick. It's just thought for sure they would have went for field, but they have a pick coming up here really shortly, so maybe they felt in danger they were going to lose this player, so they jumped and took him now.
Oops. Yeah, I could definitely see that is why they picked Kane, and like you mentioned, starting pitchers or any sort of pitchers really could be used in any sort of role, whether for the bullpen, pitching in the minors, definitely does help out any sort of way, just getting the experience and just letting them play, even though that really doesn't matter in this league. But it does help the team out, whether like you said, instead of having a inactive a relief pitcher, having somebody active in the bullpen that's always progressively getting better. So I could definitely see that as why they would have selected King with this pick. And looks like with the next pick, there is the second expansion team, Utah, going for their fourth pick in the third round. You think Utah might go another fielder, or you think they might just go starting pitcher for their first pitcher in this round?
I mean, I can't remember who was just saying that it's hard to peg these expansion teams, and I don't think it is at all. If you look at how they drafted it, it was pretty black and white how they decided to build them. And Utah went really heavy on building their bullpen with young pitchers, with two starters in Lang and Bergeron, who eventually are going to step in to fill the slots that Oles and Grotzinger are going to fit. So, yeah, a starting pitcher here would definitely, kind of make sense. But their entire infield and outfield is a mess. They need to keep taking position players because, Winter's inactive. Beck, I think, is active, I'm pretty sure. Fujiwara inactive, Dye inactive, Moore about to retire, Caliburn inactive, Gonzalez kind of active, but season 1, Hernandez inactive. I mean, that's you got a lot of holes that you're going to have to fill there pretty soon. I mean, they've got a center fielder, a catcher, and a left fielder already, but I mean, you got to start looking at that infield maybe, see if there's something there. I mean, there is only 1,000,001 second basemen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, it definitely seems like second base is one of the most popular positions to make, probably besides pitcher. Really don't know why. Maybe it's just like a personal thing, or just wanting to be a part of the infield. Personally, I probably wouldn't make an infielder. I mean, I made an outfielder, but I mean, besides that, it looks like there are a number of second basemen available, so definitely a possibility that they go there. And looks like we have received word about the 18th pick, and Utah does select DJ Steele. On here, I have it as Josh Steele. I do apologize for the incorrect name. But DJ Steele was selected 18th overall, going to Utah. So, you think this was the right move for them?
Oh, 100%. It's an area of need for them. They need to start developing that infield, just exactly what I said. I mean, they're making the right moves here. It's really good for them. They didn't have the glutton of free agent signings that Florida had, so the team's shaping up really well. If these guys can stay active, I mean, they're posed to kind of run what Outer Banks and New York was kind of running there for a bit until some unfortunate inactives of having a good core of guys who are a little bit older but not much, and then piling it in with these younger guys who hopefully be active and then fill these gaps that they have. But they have some stop gaps right now so that they can develop in the minors.
Yeah. Yeah, like you did mention, it definitely seems like specifically you mentioned about Florida with the free agents and the amount of free agents they signed compared to Utah. Definitely seems like Florida kind of pushed forward that whole rebuilding and expansion process a bit, while Utah's kind of taking it a little bit slower. So, but I mean, they're really building for the future, and like you did mention, if they are able to keep all these players active, they could be a team within the next couple seasons that could be rather dominant in the West, or just the PBE as a whole. And speaking of Florida, they have the next pick in the third round, 19th overall. Before, Florida only had 2 picks, selecting J. Ebbs and DeMars. Before the third round did come along, selecting Kane this time. So, right now they took 2 starting pitchers, 2 pretty good starting pitchers as well. So, I feel like most likely they probably focus on, another positional player, maybe an infielder as of this point. You think you got any names that they might be looking for this 19th pick?
As far as specific names, I can't be like, hey, this guy, because
Mm-hmm.
I can have an extensive look at here. But looking at my depth chart I have here for them, I think the biggest need right now for them will probably be either left field or center field. Keeks Marone, season 2 inactive, only 400 TPE. Pepe Alazar should last quite a while for them with 881. But again, it's important to kind of start building behind these players now with regression looming. So, if I'm looking at Richard Small, Jackson Tyler, Jesse Tensaklon, probably butchered that one. There's no center fielder. We only had one available, but the majority of these fielders probably have a cross position there. So that might be something where the team gets down on both needs and begs them maybe to switch to center field if they can't fill that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being an outfielder myself, I would be open to switch to really any position. To me, it really doesn't matter. I think originally I tried to make a left fielder, but I put right field by accident. So, that did happen. So, hopefully if they do take an outfielder, they could be pretty versatile out there. And it looks like we have received word in regards to this pick. So 19th overall, going in the third round to the Space Rangers, is going to be Chandler Bong, which is Peyton M34. So Chandler Bong, first baseman, going 19th overall. Congratulations. So it didn't seem like you mentioned anything about first base specifically. You think this was the right move, going with like a corner infield first base specifically, or you think they probably should have went for maybe like a middle infielder?
I'm not going to question SLM's and Bovo's picks too much. Both of them I've seen in leagues. They've been proven to be pretty competent GMs. But me personally, no, I wouldn't have made the pick because from what I heard, Hawk Russell is switching to first base for them. He's a season 4, almost 700 TBE player. Why pick another first baseman? Are you going to switch Russell again position?
Mm-hmm.
He did come from the outfield. I guess maybe he can go back to left again someday. It's a bit weird. I guess we'll see flip-flop in here maybe eventually if Bong does pan out for them, but I don't know. It's a bit weird to me. At the end of the day, whoever you feel is the best player available, and you're going to take someone at the position, like a positional player, you got to take them. If you feel Bong is a better player than, Jackson Tyler on the GM sheet, you got to make that pick, right? You can't draft by specific position if you feel better players are on the board, because worst case scenario, the guy develops well, you trade an older player, make room for him, or he becomes a nice trade piece later for yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly like you did mention. If you think, the best player on the board, sometimes you do have to take him, whether, like you said, for development purposes to, put Bong at first base. Or, even in the future, if you do realize that, Hawk Russell does stay at like first base, or, something else does happen, you're always able to, trade for other needs, or, other players that you may be looking for at the time. So it's never the wrong choice to go with, who you think the best available player is on the board. And it looks like, possibly the Space Rangers did think that, Bong was the best player on the board at that 19th spot. And after 19th, it does look like we're going to Providence for the Crabs pick. Before Krabs took right fielder Fenway Turner, pretty high TPE earner already. And then with the second pick overall, they did take Chase Pettin. So it looks like, they've made some pretty good picks. As of right now, one starting pitcher, one right fielder. You think they might finish up the trio, take an infielder as of this point, or you think they're probably going to be looking for like another outfielder or a starting pitcher?
I mean, this team's going to be silly to not take pitching. Their pitching is an absolute tire fire right now. As I see on my sheet, they only have 3 starters, and they've signed a bunch of inactives who are all like 210 TP and below. I would fully expect one of them might step in to that 4th slot, which those games are going to be rough for them. Pete Rose, high TP closer for them. I mean, that's good. I would maybe see getting him to go starter, but when you pull him out, then you got nothing in the bullpen. That Crabs have a lot of problems, and I mean they got quite a few picks, but they have to nail them this draft. If a lot of these picks end up not panning out for them, I mean it's going to be a long road ahead for them. I think if they can't nail these picks, I think Utah's ahead of them already. But it's got to be pitching. They do have a pretty big gap at third base. Again, there's some options there. But yeah, it's just there's too many holes to really kind of fill right now. So for them, it has to be best player available at the pitching spot or at the positional in the infield.
Yeah, from what I'm looking at briefly, it looks like they do have Randy Koufax, who was TLK, one of the GMs over there. Besides that, though, they do have Pete Peters, who's not too bad TPE earnings wise, and then besides that, it kind of does fall off afterwards. Like you did mention, Pete Rose does have a decent amount of TPE, so it's also a possibility of him going starting pitcher. So I guess we'll have to see what does plan out or pan out after the draft before the season does start. If they do decide to go pitcher with this pick, and it looks like we did receive word for the 20th pick, and we are going with Richard Small, and that is Philip Pryor. That is the name. So Richard Small was drafted 20th overall by the Crabs. I just need to find him. I don't see him right now. So what do you think about this pick? It was a left fielder. There it is. Sorry about that. Congratulations, Richard Small. Seemed like you thought that they probably would have went with some sort of pitching based on their team as of right now. Unless, like you said, Pete Rose does go to, or move to starting pitcher.
I mean, maybe they don't like the look of what pitchers are available for whatever reason. Another outfielder, I don't feel, again, I'm sorry, I just don't feel like it's the right choice for them. Again, GMs might see things differently. For me, I had really good interview processes. I haven't had the chance to talk to all the rookies myself, but I mean, if we're looking at positional need and what they've already taken, I don't feel it's the right pick, but they have so many holes to fill to begin with, and Valentine is going to regress here, so having a lefty and a right fielder, one of them could end up in center too to fill that gap eventually. So it's not the worst pick, right? I'm not going to say it's the complete wrong pick. I guess it's not the best pick they could have made, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. I feel like you didn't mention, probably pitching should have been one of the areas focused on heavily. Maybe they're just hoping Chase Pettin is able to produce for them on the regular after this draft, just playing for the team itself. But even then, there's still a lot of other questions in regards to whether he's going to be in the bullpen or the starting lineup. Then there's going to be holes in either one of those spots depending where he does go. So like I did mention, though, Richard Small, congratulations, being drafted by the Crabs. And after that, we do have my home yet again, New York Voyagers. Like I mentioned before, it looks like, we were looking specifically for pitching, and it looks like, we did address that drafting Justin Verbeek with the 11th pick. I think we should probably just focus on pitching again. I guess, it could come down to, like you did mention before, just the best player available as of this point to, just try to get the best player on your team. Since you were on the Voyagers for a little while, do you have any thoughts now that you're off, and what we should focus on, or what the GM should focus on?
I think for them, I think it's pretty clear. Their bullpen is barren. Squiggly is the only kind of somewhat semi-active they have, and he's only 336 TPE right now. They've got to start getting some closers. They've got one already, right? But I don't think one's enough. Really, they need starting pitchers too, sadly. Sinclair is their ace, will continue to be their ace for a bit. Stryker, another good piece. But I believe Bennett is their number 3. He's inactive, less than 400 TPE. Colt Hagen is their number 4. Only a season 7, but he's only 230 TPE, and I think he's inactive as well. And the only other kind of things I see for them is maybe at catcher. McBantrashar, 700 TPE. Ravens around. But catcher's a pretty important position as well, and there's quite a few on the board. So if I'm them, I'm going catcher, closer, or maybe starting pitcher.
No, okay. Yeah, I would agree with either one of the pitching positions, whether it's starting pitcher or closer. Like you said, it definitely is the biggest need for the Voyagers as of right now, personally, and it seems like, kind of agreed upon based on what we talked about in the locker room. So maybe we should go with another pitcher as of this point, and with this pick for the 21st pick. And it looks like we have received word as well in regards to the 21st pick, and that's going to be second baseman Shovel Bryant. Username is Ramsavale. I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry if I butcher usernames or player names. I do apologize about that, but congratulations, Shovel Bryant, being selected 21st overall. Now, that's nothing that either one of us mentioned for second base specifically. It could be used, I guess, as like a DH as of right now, because I know the Voyagers do have Lewis Storm, who could be most likely maybe the rookie of the year this year, who has been playing really well. You see any sort of reasoning going behind this besides like maybe just adding some depth?
The main thing with sim league drafts that I've learned is, kind of to parrot this again, is that maybe the New York GMs were targeting kind of what we were saying, but on their personal scouting sheet, say, let's just use numbers 1 to 10. All the starting pitchers, all the closers, all the catchers right now are rated, maybe a 6 out of 10, but they've got the second baseman as a 7. Close, right? So you'd be like, okay, well, take what we need, not the guy who may not be, rated higher, but in a sim league, activity is everything. And if you feel that 7 will outperform that 6, even if it is a positional need, you always take that player, because sure, that starting pitcher might hit 400 TP and then goes inactive. If your second baseman can hit 600, I'm not saying they're all going to go inactive, but you know what I mean? If he's hit 600 and then he goes inactive, I mean, he's technically a little more valuable than him, right?
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah, so yeah, like you said, it does come down to who you think is going to be the best player available. I trust the GMs in New York, so hopefully, Bryant, welcome to New York. Hopefully, you know, everything does pan out and you enjoy it here. After that, it looks like we got Utah again for their second pick in the third round. Before it looks like, as of right now, Utah has not selected a starting pitcher. I feel like this has to be the point in which they select a starting pitcher or just a closing pitcher. It looks like the only closing pitchers left are, the Bell brothers. Hopefully they're brothers. I'm not entirely sure. It looks like they have the same last name though. But yeah, I feel like they have to go pitcher as of this point. I know, Milburn's still up there, who's a pretty good pitcher who has some league experience. You think this is the spot in which he's gonna go, or you think they might go for another pitcher or completely something else?
I think, these starting pitchers and closers have been falling a bit, and the value of those positions are pretty high. Maybe there's something there that other people have seen with these particular players or users as to why they're falling. If I'm then, yeah, I would target a pitcher here for sure. But if they draft positional again, it's not the wrong call.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where they're weak. Their entire infield and outfield is inactives and close to dying. So really, they can do no wrong here, in my eyes. Utah can pick a starter, a closer, or a positional, and it's still a win for them.
Yeah, I feel like pretty much all of Utah's picks have been pretty much wins, and it could be either because of the players that they chose or because of, like you said, the lack of active players that they have on their team. So bringing any sort of active players is always going to be, a positive for them. So hopefully, the player that they do draft turns out to be, relatively active player and help them out for the future. And it looks like we have received word for the 22nd pick. Going to Utah at number 22 is going to be Milburn. Epic Titus Milburn. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I do apologize. But congratulations. Nunciopi. I don't even know how to say that, but I think that's close enough. Getting drafted 22nd overall to Utah. Yeah, so, like Rabbit mentioned before, I feel like, because of the whole rebuilding process, like he said, any sort of selection would have been good as of this point. So definitely any sort of picks that they do make are looking towards the future, and it's just all about trying to keep those players active and keeping them on the team. After that, it looks like we're going back to the Crabs. Like you mentioned before, we both mentioned probably some sort of pitching that would have went with the 20th pick. You think they finally go pitching with this pick, or you think they're going to look for another positional, another fielder at the 23rd spot?
If all picks are equal for them, you have to go pitcher. You have to. They have no one. They literally have no one.
Yeah.
Like, if they keep ignoring it, like I said, if everyone sticks across the board, and you're going for another like third baseman or some stuff like that, or another second baseman, it's the wrong move here, right? It's just you've got to go pitching. If they're equal, you got to go pitching. And sorry, I don't want to ignore the chat as well. Just see, you keep asking where you're gonna go, bud. If I had to pick right now, the teams that could probably use a fielder would be either the Space Rangers or the Sloths. Unfortunately, the Sloths do not pick until the 5th round. Because everyone else has kind of filled their base fielding spots, but that's probably your best bets. So keep an eye on them. Someone could, double up somewhere, but you were asking, so there you go, bud.
No, sorry about that. I didn't see that. I do apologize. But yeah, like you said, I feel like at this point the Crabs kind of need to focus on some sort of pitching. That's really bothering me. Let me fix that. There we go. Yeah, so let's just take a look and see what's going on. What's going on with that 23rd pick? So we got word the 23rd pick from the Crabs is going to be Ollie Silvagard, right fielder. Username is Jersey born. So, upholding our expectations again, selecting another outfielder instead of a pitcher. Um, I mean, I'm not sure what to really say as of this point, but I definitely thought, it would have been a pitcher this time compared to, the last pick, 420. Maybe they're really hoping on their players that they have to, if they weren't active before, to, come active again, or trying to get them active on the team. But I'm kind of surprised that there wasn't a pitcher taken from this spot from the Crabs. Do you have any comments about this pick?
It's just the same thing, man.
Yeah.
I don't know the Rooks all super well. I
Mhm.
haven't seen the interview responses, but I said if everyone is close to being equal here, it's the wrong pick. You need pitchers, man. Like Crabs, guys. Do you not see your starting rotation? Do you not see your bullpen? Do you not see your complete lack of prospects? It's just, man.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to pass up, especially like you did mention, if you're looking at the team and you see like these holes, and you kind of just it seems like almost that they're, like you said, maybe they are just going for the best players, and that's who they think, and that's who's going to be the most impactful for them. Then then that's the right pick. But as of right now, only time will tell. You can't really say anything. So like I mentioned before, congratulations, Ali. Welcome to the Crabs. Hopefully, yeah, you're able to help them out a little bit, and it looks like we're up to the last pick of the third round and the end of the third round with the Scorpions with their second pick of this draft. I felt like the Scorpions, did really well with the first pick. Their first pick with first name last name as the catcher. With this pick, I'm not entirely sure who they may go. I feel like they'll probably go with some sort of infielder as of this point. You got any you think they might go for like a specific position, or you think they're just going like best available, like you mentioned?
Death Valley got hit the hardest with the expansion draft, but
Mhm.
the fact that they lost what they did, and you still look at their roster, I mean, they've been flipping people left, right, and center around in positions, but they're allowed to, and they can, and it's ridiculous. Like their team is so good. Like their entire batting lineup is so well balanced and so good. Their bullpen took the hardest hit. Losing Smokey and Carbine to the Railroaders really hurt. And with Smoltz retiring, I mean, their only real active, I think, is Frederick Birdington, who is technically a starting pitcher. So their pick at catcher, I mean, probably again, BPA. You got to go BPA for sure. But I feel like they need to target a closer or grab another starter to play in the bullpen until they can get something going there. Because that's probably their weakest spot right now is in that bullpen.
Yeah, I feel like pretty much every team needs some sort of depth from the bullpen. Whether, most likely probably starting pitcher pitching from the bullpen. It usually seems like that's the what does occur, or some sort of closer. So it looks like Jack or John could go in this spot. So I mean, like I said before, it looks like a lot of teams are looking for some sort of pitching, whether it was because of the expansion or because of any sort of other reasons. But I think primarily the expansion did play a lot into that because of the protections and available people to be drafted. But it looks like to close out the third round, we have received word for this pick. So 24th overall, closing out the third round. The Death Valley Scorpions have selected Tyler Findling, shortstop, and that's username Blandert, I think. So congratulations, Tyler Findling, being drafted to the Scorpions. So, I mean, we mentioned this before, probably just another case of, best player available as of this point based on, some sort of, interview that they would have sent out or message to the players based on, some sort of responses that they would have got. I mean, so I don't think it would have been the wrong choice if that was the case. But, like you did mention, starting pitcher or closer, you think that would have been a little bit more beneficial if they were on equal points, like you did mention?
I mean, it's again broken record. If that's who they thought was the best player, I mean, sure, take him. It doesn't hurt anything. I'm sure Death Valley feels with the team they have and the influence they have that maybe they can draw some closers back into the fold through free agency. Not trying to hint at tampering or anything. It's just when you have a team that does well and is on the cusp of winning, I mean, people want to be there. So, I mean, maybe they have confidence in that, and then this guy was just too good to pass up for them. You see it all the time in like hockey drafts and stuff where someone falls, and the team takes them, and then they laugh later at everyone else, right?
Yeah. I mean, that happens all the time in any sort of sport where players just fall, and you know sometimes you just get lucky with one of those last picks, and you find like a hidden gem somewhere. So if that's who they think the best player is on the board, good for them. And like I said before, congrats, Tyler, being drafted there. And it looks like that's going to be the end of the third round. Rabbit, I do appreciate you, coming and joining and talking about the draft a little bit with me today. You have any last words you want to say before you go, or?
Main thing is for all you rooks watching, when we stream the games every night, the crew that we have now is great. You will probably hear my voice again and see my streams. I'm going to try and mix things up a little bit extra this year, make them a little more extra watchable. Keep your eye out for ads, and make sure you guys tune in. And hopefully, I'll see you guys around. All right.
Thanks for coming on, Rabbit. And yeah, like he said, that the streams are great. I watch every single one, even if I'm at work. I try to sneak it in, but I love watching the streams. Watching your player get to play is pretty cool, and just the whole presentation of the OTP game itself is really nice. So, um, thanks again, Rabbit, for joining. We're gonna have another person.
Yep. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah, have a good night, dude. We're gonna have another player join us as well. Looks like just setting up a mic, so while that person's doing that, we'll just talk about what's going on so far in the draft. Okay, actually, it looks like we're good. So it looks like the fourth round's going to start, and it looks like Utah has the first pick with that round. So well, can you hear me?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, Andrew, what is going on? So, guys, right now we have one of the GMs for the Utah Railroaders in the chat with us right now, Andrew Warren. So, you want to introduce yourself a little bit, Andrew?
Sure. Yeah, this is the first time that I've been a full, or I guess the main GM of a team here in the PBE. I grew up in Massachusetts. I live now in Utah, so that is why my team is based in Utah. It's the first one that I know of that's been in a sim league. So I think it was just really cool to add that kind of twist to it. I know it's kind of a weird spot. Not a lot of people know about it. They're just like, that's the Mormon state and stuff. But we'll go ahead and have have fun with it. So I
Yeah.
think we've had a great draft so far, and
No, yeah, I think you guys, have had a really good draft so far with all the players that you have picked up. Um, yeah, I definitely was surprised when the team name was the Railroaders and not some like Mormon joke, but I mean that's that's besides the point. Um, but yeah, you have yeah, do you have anything you want to say to your draftees or anything right now, or?
yeah, I just welcome to the team. This is going to be the first group of new railroaders. We have some guys from the expansion draft, but these are the real guys that we're counting on for the future. Guys like Crossland and Sochi Pili, Douglas, Steele, and Milburn. So far, the guys taken are we're really looking forward to having them on the team for the future. That we do have a really good rotation right now for the future. We're really building up. I think, as you've seen and a lot of people seen, we're really trying to build up those position players through this draft. So we got one pitcher, but then we got the catcher, a couple outfielders, and then we'll see where we go from here as well. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So looks like you guys had the first pick in this fourth round. So I don't know. Do you want to announce this pick, or is this or do you want me to do it? I mean, you're more than welcome to if you want to.
Or yeah, I can do that. So yeah, with the 25th overall pick in round 4 of the PBE draft, the Utah Railroaders are happy to add Dorothy Morimura Jiggly to the squad. So I'm very excited to add him. He fell very far. I wish he kind of got picked while he was on the stream, but we are very glad to have him, and I hope he enjoys his time here. So.
Yeah. So it looks like it has finally happened, Jiggly. So I'm happy for you. It kind of stinks that it did happen, this late. But Andrew's a great guy. He was good for us in New York, and then he decided to go to bigger and better things, I guess, in Utah. But I don't really know what's better in Utah than New York. So, but that's it's just a little.
Mountains, I guess.
Yeah, I guess mountains. We don't really have anything like that in New York. Missing out on the
Yeah.
pizza and the bagels, though. So, but I've never been to Utah, so I can't really say anything about it.
I've made trips to New York a lot of times too, so
Yeah.
I personally like New York better, but I'm not going to tell anybody that. I really like it here. It's really beautiful and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not much to do. Salt Lake's got some cool stuff, and it's got a lot of sports fans with the Jazz and Real Salt Lake, things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
in terms of stuff to do, New York's the way to go.
Yeah, I remember I was flying out to Oregon or Oregon. Don't remember how to say it. And I had a layover in Salt Lake, and there was a smoking room inside of the airport, and I'm like, this is interesting. I've never seen anything like this before. I was like, okay, I guess this is some like Midwestern stuff, but that was the
It's
only
very
experience I had. Yeah.
Very different.
Yeah. Yeah, so it looks like with the next pick we got the Space Rangers, the second expansion team. You got how do you feel about the Space Rangers draft? You think that they hit every need that they're looking for?
Taking a look, I mean, they really went hard in free agency, things like that. They have a really strong rotation. I know DeMars was pretty much an obvious #1 pick. I really like J.A. Jabs. I got a chance to talk with him a little bit in the scouting. I think he works for the Oakland A's in real life with their tickets and stuff. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got a couple other guys. I didn't really get to talk much with Adrian Kane. He did answer my scouting a little later. Same thing with Bong. But they definitely are hitting on some needs, and then they seem like a team that's building more through free agency. But it's good to add the young pieces in there as well. For the picks that they have, they've done pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. With the tail of the two expansion teams, yourself and Florida, it seems like you both went kind of in different directions, which is kind of interesting. It looks like, like Florida did hit free agency heavy and picked up some, really talented players like Cowers and Runakiwi and, big name players, while you guys drafted some good players in the expansion draft and kind of traded them to, try to help build the depth of the roster and build from, the young people that you do have up, which is, I mean, they're both great ways. I guess we'll just have to see how it does pan out in the end. So, good luck to you. Good luck to you both. And it looks like we have received word in regards to this 26th pick. So going number 26 to the Florida Space Rangers is going to be Tater Sewell. And that username is Aphis, if I'm saying that right, or Ephus. So Tater, congratulations, you're going to Florida and you're going to be a Space Ranger. Now, where is Tater on here? Your catcher. Tater Sewell is a catcher. There we go. Kind of lose track.
I actually think this is a really, really good pick.
Yeah.
We almost went with Tater Sewell at 25, but we did take Cisco at 9, so we kind of felt like the catcher position was set. We could have maybe made one a DH, but I'm not sure exactly who wanted to catch. And then we actually learned Jiggly was available pretty late. When he was on the stream talking about him not being drafted is kind of when I learned that he was draft eligible. So that's why we went with him over Sewell. But that's a great pick for Florida.
Yeah, I haven't really had any, I haven't really got to talk to many of the draftees besides some of the stuff that, Ryan's mentioned to me, who Ryan Stryker is our co-GM, one of the GMs at New York. So sadly, I can't say much about, his thought process and everything like that besides some of the, the numbers that he gave me in regards to it. But, it looks like, either one of those catchers was rated pretty highly on the board for most of the teams. So, congrats, Sewell. Hopefully everything goes well for you, or Sewell. I'm sorry if I'm saying the name wrong again, and I do apologize, in Florida. And it looks like we do have the Vandals up at number 27. So, the Vandals before, looks like, they've had 4 picks beforehand. They got a closer, a starting pitcher, another starting pitcher, and then Max Crazy's remake for Kyle Bellinger for the second baseman. So I feel like, they went good. They went hard on pitching pretty early on, drafting 3 of them and the remake because they had to. You think at this point that they'll probably go for positional player, or you think it's just best player available at this time?
Yeah, usually best player available would be the way to go. They do have a lot of good starting pitching now with Keller, Brother. They picked up Dawson and Davies. So they have a future rotation that can be very good. I think they do need to replace some of their aging veterans on the team, such as Vic Thunder, things like that. So if I were them, I'd go a position player. But there are still a few good pitchers on the board.
Yeah, from, like I said, briefly from what was discussed with me and Ryan, it seems like, some of the pitchers on the board are still highly rated. And there's, definitely a lot of other highly rated players available left in the draft as well, just not in the pitcher's position. Yeah, I feel like now in the draft is kind of, you're thinking best available at this point. Like Rabbits mentioned previously, it's just, sometimes it's better than hitting those needs and just trying to get which player you think is going to be the most active and who's going to be, fighting for the team and who wants to do well. Looks like we have received that pick for number 27 overall is going to be another catcher. It's going to be Hendrix Lamar, drafted number 27 overall. and that username is WKDFire53. So congratulations, Hendrix, being drafted to the Vandals. So yeah, back-to-back catchers going. Starting the fourth round out. Besides, Jiggly getting drafted 25th. Besides that, it looks like we have the Crabs up with number 28. So, before it seemed like Rabbit did mention, that the Crabs kind of need to focus on pitching. You think, like he said, that pitching is one of the, the areas that they need to focus on a lot because of the players that they're missing? Or you think maybe there's other people on the board that you've rated highly, or that the Crabs might rate highly that they should go after?
Yeah, so the Crabs, they're getting a little older with some of their players, like Stanton and Boss, things like that. I know they started selling off last season with the Columbus and Oles, things like that. I don't know if they need all pitching. I just think they need a lot of stuff here. Silvergard was a good pick, as well as Turner. I also took Richard Small, who I also believe is a good pick, and Chase Pettin. I think they've had a good draft. I do think they do need another pitcher here, as they've only taken one in Pettin. Someone like Alan Abel would be good, maybe even a John Bill for them. I don't remember who they actually picked, so.
Yeah. So no, that's fine. So it looks like with the 28th pick, like you did mention, it is John Bill, going 28th overall, closing pitcher. That is user SO2264. Congratulations, going to the Crabs. 28th overall. So it looks like they did hit the position that it looks like they were looking for in regards to some sort of pitching. So it's just filling in one hole. A lot of teams have multiple holes that they need to fill in, so it's just a starting process. And like I said, congratulations again, John. And then after that is my home again, New York, and the home that Andrew left us in. So what do you think we're gonna do here? You think we should go pitching or something else?
I think they definitely nailed it with the first pick in Verbeek. They needed to rebuild the bullpen with me leaving. Shovel Bryant seems like a decent pick as well. I do think they do need another starting pitcher here. Like I said before, I think Alan Abel is a solid guy. I recruited him to this league, so I do know him a little bit. I'm not sure on his commitment, but I think he will be a solid earner. So he's definitely a guy that's solid here. Looking at the team, the offense is really building off that season 5 draft, season 4 draft. I think they do need to go pitch in here.
Yeah, I feel like that is the one of the areas that needs to be focused on the most. So looks like we have received word for the 29th pick for the Voyagers, and that's going to be Top Gun Sheeley, and that is catcher. So another catcher taken in the 4th round. Three catchers. 3 out of the 5 taken. I can see why we would have taken a catcher, since Nate Piazza would have been our second catcher who did get drafted in the expansion. So it is a needed position to help back up Raven, who is Laddie McBantershire during like the off days, and they could possibly rotate from DH to catcher, like was previously done with Piazza when he was there. I don't feel like it was a bad choice, but if it's the best player available on the board, then that's what you got to go with. So I feel like it was a position that was definitely needed, but probably not as much as pitching. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think what they got here is definitely good value. He's very new. I think he just joined today. or got approved today. It might have been last night, but not many people had a chance to scout him. I did a little bit today. Seems like a decent guy. He got approved and everything, and with losing Nate, I think the catcher value, it's solid here. With Laddie being a season 1 guy, hitting regression soon.
Mhm.
They're hoping this Top Gun guy could be the next guy. So I think
Yeah.
it's a good value. And some of the pitchers on the board, besides the one guy, Alan Abel, I don't know how good of earners they will be. Duca Del Strada seems fine as well.
Mhm.
So we'll see, but I think it's a solid pick here for New York.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely fills that hole, like you said, especially with all the season 1 players going to be hitting that regression soon. Definitely, a spot to build in the future. Hopefully, Top Gun, you enjoyed here in New York. Have a, hopefully have you a good time here. So with the 30th pick, it wasn't allowed because of the salary cap penalty. So unfortunately, the Slots don't get the pick yet. Their first pick won't be until round 5 with the 38th overall pick. So we're going to be going back to the Crabs. Now, with the Crabs again, what do you think at this point? You think just best player available, or anything else, like any specific positions or names to be looking out for?
Yeah, I'd probably go best player available here.
Mhm.
In my scouting, at least the top 3 I see available still on the board. Guys like Chris Kramer, striker Killian, as well as Alan Abel, as mentioned before. I know guys like JD Jacks and Stratford Wakera. Those are guys that just joined recently as well. I know Wakera joined probably like 15 minutes before the draft even started. So those are all good guys to pick. I just think you go best player available based on whatever scouting they did. So
Yeah. So looks like we have also received word on this pick. So 31st overall, it's going to be someone that you didn't mention. It's going to be striker Killian. Striker is a third baseman, selected 31st overall, going to the Crabs. So it looks like they took your advice and went with one of the players that you did mention.
yeah, I think at this point there's a lot of guys that are still solid. He was one of them based on my scouting, so it's a good pick
Mm-hmm.
at this.
Yeah, so, and then with the last pick of the 4th round, we got the Scorpions. The Scorpions had 2 picks before, first name, last name catcher, and Tyler Feinling, shortstop. I mean, a couple of the other names you mentioned before, as people available, I could definitely see them either one of them going. Um, is there? Do you think there's anything specific that the Scorpions should be looking for as of this point?
They're a
Or
pretty
just
solid team as they're built right now.
Mhm.
But as was mentioned before, the expansion draft hit their bullpen real hard with Smoltz, Musgrave, Smythe, Carbine, and Smokey being taken from them. So they just got decimated. I'd maybe take a chance on a starting pitcher and use him in the bullpen and build while Victoria's Secret is regressing. So
Yeah, so it looks like we received word on that 32nd overall pick, and that pick is Alan Abel, another player that you did mention, going to the Scorpions with that 32nd overall pick, ending in the 4th round. So it looks like, based on what you're saying, it looks like they got some pretty good value going in the 4th round to them. And that's about it for the 4th round. Congratulations, Abel, being drafted to the Scorpions. You have anything you want to say, Warren, before you head on out, or is that about it?
It's a good pick for Death Valley. I think with their limited picks in the draft, they actually did really well, which is a little sad since I have to be in the West with them. But I really liked first name, last name. During scouting, he was probably the person I talked to the most. But we were happy at the catcher. We could have moved up, but we were very happy with Cisco there. Findling as well, very solid pick. And then Abel, like I said, he's a guy I recruited in the league. So Death Valley did a great job. And you've been doing a great job presenting this draft. I look forward to getting in the locker room with some of these rookies, since I haven't really been on Discord too much since I've been talking. But
Yeah. Yeah.
thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, no problem, Andrew. Have a good night, and hopefully everything goes well with you in Utah in this upcoming season. Okay. Yeah, so this is going to be the start of the 5th round. Right now we don't have anybody in the chat talking with me. If somebody does want to join, it looks like does Jose want to join? I can take him in if you want to talk. Oh, you want to come in, TLK? Okay. Yeah. So here, let me. I think I might have to add you as a friend. Give me 1 second. Oh, you want? Okay, I'll take Jose then. Okay, sounds good. So give me 1 second. Where is you said you're in the rookie chat, right? What's your Discord name? I'm sorry. Here, I could probably just find that actually. Okay, here you are. Okay, I sent a call on, so sorry about that. So in the 5th round, 33rd overall pick is
Hello?
going to... Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, what's going on?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So with the 33rd pick, we'll just get this through, is going to be going to the Space Rangers. Is going to be Chris Kramer, also known as Kramer Attack.
Florida's a hoe.
Hmm?
Florida ain't gonna go nowhere this season.
You don't think so?
No, they missed their opportunity. 5 rounds. They've had 5 rounds. They missed it.
I missed it. So I got a question. Where do you think you're gonna go? Do you have any specific team you want to go play on, or you just pretty much anywhere?
I was really wanting to go to Florida. They've passed on me 5 times now.
Well, now you got
probably more than 5 times. I think they have more picks in double rounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now it's just your turn to prove them wrong. It happened last year with the Sippy Jr. And he's doing pretty well in the minors right now. So
I'm the best player in this draft.
The best player.
Best player.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Jose is the best player in this draft. Am I saying that correct? Is it Jose?
Jose, yes.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. I wasn't sure if I was butchering it or not.
Nah, yeah, perfect.
Okay. So it looks like we did get the 34th pick in as well. And with the 34th pick, it is going to be shortstop Stratford Wakira or Wakara.
That team is also going nowhere. They messed up too. It's round 5.
Round 5. So pretty much any team that didn't pick you they're going nowhere.
They don't have a chance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, according, if you're right, if you're the best player and they're not saying then there's got to be something wrong. Then their draft boards, or they must be all messed up or whatever. But
I believe I will be picked by the right team at the right time in no time.
in no time,
In no time.
do you think it's going to be this round?
I can't say. I thought it was going to be the first round.
You thought
5
it was
rounds
gonna be
later, it
first
hasn't
round?
happened yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully it's gonna be soon, man. I want you to go to a team, and then once you get there, all that you got to do is just show everybody what they missed out on.
I do wanna shout out to the rookie chat though. They've been believing in me since since I've joined. They all of them have been drafted except for me.
Yeah, rookie chat's great. It's good that you're over there and talking to people. So yeah, there's some good people over there, and all the rookies. Congrats again. And it looks like we have received word on the 35th pick. And that is going to be the last closer in this draft, and that was going to be Jack Bill. And that is user good old Kimmy, being selected 35th overall to the Vandals. Now, you have anything you want to say about the Vandals right now?
The Vandals I think have the best draft so far.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they can make it the best draft in history with another pick of Jose.
Oh man, you crack me up. I love you. No, but yeah, the Vandals have had a pretty good draft. I feel like they have hit some pretty good, picked up some pretty good players and positions that are in need.
The top 2 drafts so far this draft, I'd say the Crabs and the Vandals. They have had the best drafts.
Oh really? Nice. Who do you think the Crabs are going to take with this pick?
I mean, if it's not Jose, then I mean,
time to riot.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. I mean, let's see who they picked real quick. Hold on, they got closer.
Yeah, they took a third base. They took Striker Kelly, and they took a closer. They took a right field. They took left field. They took a second baseman. And then in the first round, they took Chase Patton, who was a starting pitcher. So I mean, they already did take a left. Yeah,
they need me.
They need you.
Or no, wait, no. They already took. They took my boy Richard Small. I don't want to take anything from him. That's one of my other guys. He's
oh, you and Richard Small. You guys are cool.
Yeah. We're pretty close so far.
Yeah. So it looks like we finally got word for the 36th pick. So it looks like the Crabs have selected Jose Tentacion. Is that how you say your last name?
Yes.
Okay.
And that's how it rolls, baby.
Yeah, that's how it rolls. So now you can prove everybody wrong, and it looks like you're gonna have to be fighting with your friend for some sort of spot on that team, I guess.
All I gotta say right now is Crabs, trade him. I got the starting spot. Trade him, get something else.
Yeah, the chat is going crazy for you. I'm happy for you, dude. Congrats, you're going to the Crabs. Crabs they got some good people over there, so they'll treat you good. And like you said, if you're going to be showing them that you're the best player, that'll be a good team. And we'll probably play against you on the Voyager sometime soon too.
Well, I'll be looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, so congrats, dude. That's awesome.
Thank you.
No problem. And then for the 37th pick, it looks like the Voyagers can't take Jose because he was taken even though it looks like we would have taken him, but we've taken Mitchell McDowell, also known as J-Pox.
You could have taken him in 4 earlier rounds, so that's y'all's fault. So
that is true. No, that is true. Yes, so the Voyagers took a starting pitcher. It looks like another position that was in need for, the Voyagers. As of right now, it looks like the draft is starting to wind down a little bit. We only got 2 pitchers left. We do have a decent amount of infielders left on the board as well, and 2 more outfielders. In the 5th round, on the 38th pick, we finally have a spot for the Sloths for 38. So you have any more friends that haven't been drafted yet that you're looking to be drafted, or
Not all. Everybody got drafted. Hey, that
everybody
was the
got
last
drafted?
one.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry you had to wait so long, but
It's fine.
yeah,
It's worth it.
yeah,
Providence has got the best player in the draft.
yeah. Well, hopefully kick some ass over there. That's all you need to do. So
Exactly.
yeah. So it looks like with the 38th pick, first pick for Sloths, is actually a trade. It wasn't even a pick. So the trade is going to be the 38th. They're trading. Here's the trade. 38th for Florida's 5th in season 10. I can't. I didn't copy and paste well, so let me. 38th pick for Florida's 5th in season 10. Okay, there we go. And that is the Sloths. Sloths don't even get a pick. That's going to Florida. And then Florida is going to take with this pick Haley McConnell. And that is user SJMC SJ McWallace 06.
Florida's not going to win a single game this year. I'm
You don't think
predicting it
so?
right now. Not a single game.
I mean, I'd like that because we're in the same division. I mean, I guess as of right now we're. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I wanted to copy that. Yeah, I mean, I'd like that because we're in the same division as Florida. So I mean, if we could make that happen, Jess, we could team up and.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds like some sort of conspiracy, and I'm not actually gonna do that. But yeah. Because I probably get kicked out of the league if I did, but that was who was taken. So Haley and McConnell selected as 38th overall. So yeah. So how you liking the PBE so far? How long have you been in the league for? Looks like yesterday.
Like 2 days.
Oh,
Like
okay.
2 days, probably. Like a day and a half.
Mm-hmm.
It's been it's different.
It's different. Have you ever done anything like this before?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
It's my first time. I mean, I'm kind of role playing a little bit, so I've done a little bit of that. But other than that,
oh yeah. I mean, I do a football one, and I do like a cartoon character that I try to role play a little bit, and definitely makes it a lot more fun. So it kind of a little bit more into it as well. So I kind of get that. It's definitely some sort of like sim league where you're able to do that, which could be fun for some people. Other people, just don't do that. But hopefully everything goes well. So, do you have anything you're gonna focus on specifically for your player? Like you want to like hit home runs?
I'm gonna hit dingers all day.
That's
dingers
I mean
is records. I want records for dingers, most dingers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's possible. You're probably gonna have to beat out some pretty good players. Maybe in a couple of years, you'll be able to do that. Yeah, so you're a power hitter. So and a strong arm outfielder. That's what I am too. You're gonna be gunning people out.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, that's all you got to do, man. Just do your best. So and then looks like we got word for the 39th pick from the Aviators. The Aviators selected Bishop Chomke, 39th overall. Username is Fade17. So congratulations, Chomke, being drafted to the Aviators. And then, last but not least, we do have the Scorpions for the last pick in the 5th round, like usual. In this, for this pick, we also do have word that it's going to be the last starting pitcher available, and it's going to be Diego Duque de Estrada, a baseball maniac. So congratulations, Diego Estrada, being selected, and that's going to be the end of the starting pitchers, and that is going to be also the end of the 5th round. With that, I do have one other person that I need to talk to, if you don't mind.
That's
thanks for,
fine.
Yeah, thanks for coming on board. At least you were here when you got drafted. So
Thank you for having me. It was wonderful.
Yeah, no problem, dude. Hopefully, you stick around and play play this stupid game that we play. It's a lot of fun. If you have anything, always just message somebody and we're there to help. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay. Yeah. So we got one other person. Who's gonna help us out just to round out the rest of the sim. And yes, congratulations, just say again that finally you were drafted, best player in the draft going. Finally at the 36th pick, at least you were there, and thanks for coming on and talking to me. So looks like we got the start of round 6 with the Space Marine.
Yo, hello?
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's going on? Shout out to my crabs out here. Providence, let's go.
Yeah, crabs.
We out here. Shout out. I want to give my shout out. Shout out Leafer. Shout out TLK. Shout out all the crabs drafted. Shout out my boy Jase was on earlier. We lit. Best draft class in the league.
Best draft class? Damn. That's a strong opinion right there. Let's see if the crabs can
We got all the best players.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys did pretty good this draft. Let's see if you guys can hopefully continue that into the season coming up. And
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yeah, it looks like Jase is also pretty excited too. So, I mean, it looks like you guys got some good young people on that team right now. So, a lot to be excited for.
Lots of hype in the locker room here.
Yeah.
We're getting ready.
You guys partying already?
Yeah, we're partying. We're having a crab party right now.
Crab party.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like for the 41st pick this is gonna be another trade. So
Moving on up.
Florida is trading to the New York Voyagers. So that's gonna be 40. Why is it doing that? Okay, so that's going to be 41st pick for New York's 5th in season 10. And that is Florida. There we go. Okay, so the New York Voyagers get to select now for the 41st pick. And it looks like the Voyagers have selected Jackson Tyler Keller time, selected in the 41st overall position. Let me just take a look. Jackson Tyler, left fielder, being selected. So yeah,
There we go.
You having a good time with the draft so far?
For sure, sure. Yeah, this is I joined like 3 weeks ago. Joined the league, and it's been great ever since. Lots of good guys in the Discord and the league. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, the league. I love the league. The league's a lot of fun. I've been here for I think a little over 6 months now. And yeah, there's a lot of great people. If you guys ever need any help or whatever, there's people around pretty much all the time. I'm around all the time too. So if there's a lot of great people. Makes the league a lot more fun too and engaging. And then once you get in the locker rooms, you guys may stay with the teams. You may go to the minors and stuff like that, meet some new people. So anything's a possibility. And
for sure.
Yeah, the minors is a lot of fun too. I used to co-GM with the Sentinels, but we've rebranded that team and now we're the Anchorage Wheelers, which is a bunch of dogs. So but
right.
Yeah, so it looks like for the 42nd pick, Utah is taking J.D. Jax, and that is going to be shortstop, and the username is JDre17. So congratulations, J.D. Jax, being selected 42nd overall, going to Utah. So
Nice.
In regards to being drafted to the Crabs, if you weren't on the Crabs, is there any other team that you would have wanted to go to?
That's a tough question. A lot of teams reached out. A lot of teams, or some teams didn't. I'll let you guys know of those teams in my intro article there. But I think the Providence is the best location for me. I really can't see myself on any other team right now.
Mm-hmm.
So Crabs are bust for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like the Crabs are doing pretty well. So good on them.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Bright future. Bright
yeah,
future in Providence.
yeah, and you going second overall too. That must have been pretty exciting as well.
For sure, for sure. I was expecting to go number 2. The GMs, kind of were interested in me at that spot, and I was excited. I was definitely hyped. So definitely lots of hype here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like we also got word for the 43rd pick. And that's going to be Josh Kings, selected by the Vandals. That is going to be second baseman Josh Kings. And so there we go. Josh Kings selected 43rd overall, going to the Vandals. Congratulations, Josh Kings. So looks like we don't have many people left in the draft. All the pitchers are gone, like I mentioned. We have 3 people left. We have Elon Bezos, we have Barnaby Earl, and then we also have Bishop Chomsky. Wait, no,
Yep.
I think Bishop Chomsky was already taken, wasn't he? Yeah, he was. So we only have 2 people left. I forgot to cross that off. My bad. So we have 2 people left. Elon Bezos and Barnaby Earl. So it should end with the Voyagers pick.
Yep. Teams are looking for those late round gems here. It's definitely interesting to see.
Oh, I'm sorry. There was one more. There's also Billy Bob Booker the 5th. I didn't see that one. So it looks like we do have word on some of those picks as well. 44th overall, another Crab Bro, is going to be Elon Bezos. It's going to be JBN or JBM 3333. So congrats, get another Crab player.
That's a
there.
good pick.
Yeah.
That's a very good pick.
Have you talked to Elon at all, or?
Elon Bezos. Can't say I have, but definitely will be looking to grow some chemistry there,
Yeah.
along with all my other teammates.
Yeah. I mean, trying to make some friends, get everybody to, stay active and, try to just get really good and make the Crabs good is the best way to do it. That's pretty much what,
For sure.
yeah, what we did in New York, and then expansion draft happened, so that kind of sucked. But, sometimes you just got to deal with that stuff. So it looks like 45th overall. Second last player to go is going to be Barnaby Earl. First baseman going to the Voyagers. And then it looks like we have the 1 player remaining, and that's going to be Billy Bob Booker the 5th. And from what I'm looking at, it looks like the Scorpions actually did pass for their 48th pick. And the 49th pick was also passed, and Billy Bob Booker is going to be going to the Utah Railroaders as the final pick for this season 9 draft. So hopefully everybody enjoyed themselves. Hopefully you're all happy with the teams that you're on. If not, just demand a trade. No, don't do that. But yeah, but everybody's gonna be going on their teams. Yeah, some of you guys may be staying up. If not, the minors, like I said, minors is a ton of fun. There's a lot of good managers down there that'll help you out as well. So yeah. Besides that, I mean, that's really about it. I just want to say congrats to all the rookies being drafted, and good luck on on your adventure through the PBE. You have anything you want to say before we pretty much just sign off of this?
I just want to say great draft presentation. It was very enjoyable to watch. Loved all the guests going on here. Very, very great draft to watch, and looking forward to the season.
Yeah, thanks. Much appreciated. Thank you, dude. And like I said, good luck to everybody, and good luck to yourself as well. Hopefully, Pedden does really well for the Crabs and help them out this year.
Yeah. Yep. Throwing K's all day.
Yeah, throw all the K's. Just don't give up any walks or anything like that. But
I won't be seeing any of those.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's about it from myself. I'll be uploading this information onto the site probably tomorrow or maybe later tonight since it's only about 9:30. That's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed everything and have a good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Signing off.
Yeah.